What up, familia? It's your favorite Puerto Rican Brooklyn Philly, and I'm back with another message. First of all, in the background, you're going to be hearing Inga Rose, Piece by Piece. And her song is literally talking about her rebuilding herself, right? Her working on herself, her not wanting, as uncomfortable as it could be, right? Change, but her not wanting the comfortability anymore of the brokenness, right? Of the broken pieces of her ignoring what needs to be worked on in order for her not to continue to literally keep getting the same issues, the same people, right? Essentially, even though they're different faces, right? Essentially, talking about what I sense from it, like a sense of self love, right? And truly healing and breaking cycles, right? Patterns that can be self sabotaging and only lead to greater pain in the, at the end, right? Even though it's a temporary satisfaction, right? Um, then when I pre-pull cards, I got the three of coins, but I got it in the reverse. Then I got the four wands, but it came out in the reverse as well. And then I got the Ten of Cups in the upright, right? And I was like, what are you saying, Spirit? At the bottom of the deck, the prequel, the signifying card for me was the Moon card, right? And this is my Bag Lady by Erica Badu, right? Card. And it's I just heard Cancer, right? Because the moon can be associated with Cancer too. So Cancer, sign of Cancer may be relevant here, or it could be resonating with someone, but filled with emotion. I'm hearing as well, but also I'm hearing the subconscious, right? The secrets we keep, the way we feel, right? This lady feels like she's being judged. It looks like by the people around her, they're laughing at her, they're um, judging her, right? Um, and what I got, I'm sorry, right? I'm feeling emotional. I'm feeling conflicted right now is the word, because what I'm hearing is by this three of coins and this four wands coming out in the reverse, it's signifying, or I'm speaking to a collective who's, yeah, look what is here, the Queen of Cups, right? That you're highly sensitive, you're highly emotional at this time because you've figured out that if I'm speaking to you, beloved, that, and see how I keep uh like prolonging it. I don't want to say it. There's really difficulty admitting, speaking it out loud, confessing that for many of you who are watching, you have to make a decision where you're literally walking away from a person, place, or thing. And what I literally heard with the three of coins and the four of wands, the three of coins is a family structure, and I'm seeing up to three different generations. So it could be a mother, daughter, and granddaughter, or it's not gender specific. It's just energy, or father, son, and grandson, right? Or grandfather, father, and son. There's like three generations that are all still possibly, very much alive in the same timeline. And typically, right in the upright, they would be collaborating with one another to fix this boat, to be able to sail it into, you know, uh, uh, enjoy it together. But it's more about, when I look at this card, about the act of all of them working at their own generational level with their own ages of experience and what they have to bring, and interchanging those gifts and those ideas and that communication, and collaborating to get this vehicle working for their benefit, right? And longevity. But it's in the reverse, and it's talking about, as ideal as we would like that to be, right? Right. When we look at movies, when we look at, uh, films, or, television shows like the Cosby's, I'm hearing, and stuff like that. We all, or most people, desire and those types of familial structures, right, that are collaborative, that work together to leave. But that's not the reality for everybody, and that sometimes, right, and for most of us, a lot of the times our family structures are more toxic than they are beneficial, right? And I hate to use the word toxic because I know it's been overused so much and everything and everyone is toxic. So, but it's not that. But the familial structure, if I'm speaking to you, you come from, has been so fragmentalized, right? Unfortunately, many of its members have suffered at the hands of trauma, right? Both systemic, economic, right? But then deeply rooted in familial as well, right? To the point where that kind of dynamic of them collaborating and working together has not been the case. And to get to that point would take years of consistent and intentional healing on the parts of everyone involved, right? And then the four wands in the upright, if you see it, it's like they're celebrating an anniversary, right? And they're surrounded by their friends and family. And again, even in that, many of us are not in relationships or have not endured relationships where they led to marriage and long lasting, where we are celebrating like 20, 30 years anniversary. Again, not to say that these two scenarios don't exist, right, and are not possible. They are very much possible, but the collective that I'm speaking to, that has not been your reality. When it came down to the familial structure, it has been very fragmented and broken down. And when it's come down to the partnerships, right, marriage and long-term relationships, it has also not always turned out in the fairy tale the end that we are fed through fairy tales and TV shows and media and what we then desire, right, for ourselves, or most people desire. But there's this sense of that even though you didn't come from that, or even though you didn't have that, and even though you may not have been able to build that within your own familial structure, or see that between your parents, and that there is this hope and this possibility that you still can build that for yourself and your family, that you still can have this 10 of cups, right, even if it means separate from this. Because for some of you, I'm hearing it will be a separation. I hear the severing from old ties, right, even some familial ones, right? And it doesn't mean that you're a bad person, or because there's this conflict about it, right? And I'm also speaking to people who have been used to being, I'm hearing, the glue of the family, the matriarch or patriarch of the family, that feel like if I was to remove myself, then the whole family would crumble. But then there's this, I just heard that would be like a God complex. You are not built to save the world, let alone your family, or that is too much weight or responsibility to have put on your shoulders from a childhood. I'm hearing from many of you, your family did that to you or taught you that those relationships were meant to be endured or something, even if they were toxic, but just for picture sake or anniversary sake, you stayed together. There's something about the crumbling of that structure, because deep down inside you're feeling this way anyway, right? There's something about, bag lady, you're gonna hurt your back carrying all those bags like that. And it's almost like in vain, because they're mocking you and you're not even being appreciated for it. But there's this sense of you're being asked, that you're needing to understand that in the midst of all of that, you still can reach that. And maybe that's where Inga Rose came in with her music. But it will require this healing, this work on oneself, right? Dealing with what the patterns and the behaviors, and why I accept certain things or stay in certain things or view certain things Yeah, and I'm coming back. Let's do a part two to this because